Push the action button near a scalable railing to hang off the other side. This is called hanging. You can use it to move around, hide, and even maneuver around an enemy's back.
You can move the left stick or use the L2 and R2 buttons to move left and right while hanging.
When you're ready to pull yourself up, just push the action button again. A grip gauge appears below the life gauge during hanging. The grip gauge indicates how tightly you're holding on, and steadily decreases as long as you're in hanging mode. When the grip gauge goes to 0, you won't be able to hold on anymore. You need to hoist yourself up before you fall off. Push the crawl button while hanging to jump down straight below. If the ground is too far below, you'll lose some life. In some places, you won't make it at all. Be careful of that. Snake, switch to first-person view and look at the upper decks. See the sentries? Take them out in first-person view before they see you. Change to first-person view with a weapon selected. Once you aim your weapon with the weapon button, you're ready to attack in first-person view. Using the first-person attack allows you to shoot high or low. You can aim for the enemy's head or even feet. The L2 and R2 buttons let you strafe during first-person attacks. You can crouch too with the crawl button. Once you've mastered all the moves, you'll be able to do things like jump out from concealment, fire at a target, and then drop out of the enemy's view again. Snake, you need to get to the bridge on the top level of the infrastructure. First, find a door that leads into the tanker's interior and infiltrate the ship. Snake, don't let the enemy spot you. Once you've been discovered by a sentry, he'll call in reinforcements and there will be an attack. Even you're no match for that level of organized assault. They have better weapons too, remember? We aren't terrorists, okay? Avoid unnecessary confrontations and go for total stealth, all right? As soon as you're spotted by an enemy soldier, he'll call for backup on his radio. The search party that's going to show up as a result is a tough bunch. For one thing, they have better equipment, like body armor. But the main thing is that they're highly trained in search and destroy types of activities. They'll come as a team and attack as a team. Don't try to take them straight on. If you're spotted, you need to stop the sentry from calling for backup. Take him down before he has the chance to use the radio. You can also break out the chaff grenade and interfere with the message transmission to prevent any alerts from being issued. If you take out the radio, the sentry will have no way of calling for help. Radios are worn behind the right hip. You should be able to target it in first-person view. If he does manage to call for backup, get yourself in deep hiding before they arrive. After pushing the crawl button in hanging mode and falling, if you see a good handhold, try pushing the action button. If you hit it just right, you should be able to grab on. It won't matter if your direction's off a little bit. Experiment with it. If it's about waist high, you'll be able to climb up or over things with the action button. Keep that in mind. When you're flattened against a surface behind a corner, you're in corner view. You'll be able to survey the area without exposing yourself. The corner view lets you take a look ahead with the L2 and R2 buttons. Or you can jump out with your weapon ready. Take advantage of all the action. Push the L2 or R2 button while in corner view to move your head and take a quick look in that direction. You'll be able to see farther in corner view, but there's a greater chance of being discovered. Keep that in mind.
Move the right stick while in corner view to look in that direction.
The difference between this and using left step and right step buttons is that you won't be exposing yourself to possible enemy fire. At the same time, because you're staying in the same position, your range of vision is more limited. If you have a weapon selected while in corner view, push the weapon button to jump out of concealment and aim your weapon. You can use this while you're standing or crouching. It should help during gunfights. Bodies can be moved to another location by dragging. First, make sure no weapon is selected. Then push the weapon button near the body to grab it. As long as you have a hold on the body, you'll be able to drag it. Let go of the weapon button when you're done. It's a bad idea to leave enemies where they've fallen. Hide the bodies to make sure no one sees them. I recommend you hide the enemy's body as soon as you've taken them down. The tranquilized and unconscious enemies will wake up sooner or later. As for soldiers you've killed, the body will become too stiff to move in a short while. Keep that in mind. You can also hide the enemy's body in a locker. All you have to do is open the locker and drag the body there. Snake, if you sustain damage from enemy attacks, it could increase your chances of capture. The bloodstains would lead them right to you, and that's another reason you should stay away from trouble as much as possible. If your life gauge is down to the point where it's red, the bleeding won't stop. As long as you're bleeding, your life gauge will keep dropping gradually. Besides that, the bloodstains could put the enemy on your trail. The only way to stop the bleeding for good is to let your body recover until the life gauge is green. Rations are the best way to do that. Try to crouch down or assume crawl position and stay still while you're bleeding. Your life will recover bit by bit. I'd recommend that you stay in hiding until the bleeding stops, if possible. Snake, the M9's anesthetic rounds have different effects depending on where it hits. If you manage to land them on the head or the heart area, the enemy will go down immediately. If it's hands or feet, it may take a while for the anesthetic to take effect. Try using the first-person view to aim with higher accuracy. Aim the gun and push the L1 button to automatically lock onto the target. You can use this feature from first-person view or from top view as well. You can aim the handgun with the weapon button, then lower it without firing if you let go of the button slowly. It saves ammunition, and besides, it could be useful after you've disarmed an enemy at gunpoint. These aren't sentries you're dealing with. They're searching for you, and they know you don't want to be found. You can't make some feeble attempt at concealment. Make sure you're completely hidden in some place they wouldn't think of searching. Whenever you see an item box, you should acquire it. Take a closer look to see what the item is. When you take out an enemy, move his body out of the way and check for an item box. Don't leave it behind. Snake, when I have something urgent to tell you, I'll raise you on the codec. When you see the call sign, hit the select button to receive, all right? You'll be less likely to be spotted in the dark, but this won't work during a clearing, so I recommend you try something else. Snake, in some locations, the lighting makes your shadow longer and more noticeable. The enemy might spot your shadow, so you want to watch out. Turns and corners are especially dangerous, but the same holds for the enemy. If you spot someone's shadow ahead, you can avoid unnecessary risks. Don't break things if you can help it. Any sign of infiltration will put the enemy on a lookout. Exercise caution. Even if you've successfully thrown the enemy off your trail, don't ever relax your guard once you've been spotted. They'll be looking for you, and security will be tighter. Don't underestimate what you're up against. If you're spotted, and it comes down to an exchange of gunfire, don't stand out in the open. Find cover ASAP. Strafe and stretch up from your concealed position to get a good shot on target while in first-person view. But if they come at you in droves, even you won't be able to fend them off. You need to avoid discovery at all costs. The handgun ammunition and other live rounds have different effects depending on where the bullet hits. If you hit the hand, the enemy won't be able to use it, and a round to the leg and feet will take away their mobility. If you manage to land them on the head or the heart area, the enemy will go down immediately. Destroy the radio on their right hip to the back to prevent the enemy from calling for backup. Use the first-person view when you need to aim accurately. Snake, don't just take out enemies and leave them there. That's a bad idea. Finding their dead friends on the ground will probably make sentries raise an alarm. Once you've dealt with someone, put the body somewhere out of sight. The reinforcements are all wearing body armor. It'll take several shots before the rounds do any damage to the protected regions of the body. But only a single headshot is needed. Aim well while attacking in first-person view.
As long as you have no weapon selected, you can throw an enemy with the weapon button and the left stick. Just get in close and hit those controls at the same time.
They'll be down on the ground afterwards, and you may even be able to knock them unconscious. The other attack option when you're unarmed is the chokehold.
Move in close to the enemy from behind and push the weapon button without moving the left stick.
Hit the weapon button repeatedly to break the enemy's neck. Keep it pushed down if you want to move around and drag him away with you. Remember, you can only do this from the back. You can't perform a chokehold while facing someone. Be careful. When you're springing up from hanging mode with the action button, you can use the momentum to knee someone. If you see an enemy walking near the railings, give it a try. Select the grenade when you take a peek. You can then use the weapon button to throw the grenade while taking cover behind objects. If you get lucky, you could seize an item from someone after you hold them up. There's some items you can only acquire from holdups. If you've got the time, try it out. Snake, if you fall from there, even you won't make it. You can't fall, no matter what, okay? Snake, it looks like that door can't be opened from the deck. You can infiltrate the ship through other doors. Snake, watch out for the floor there. It's wet from the rain. You'll leave tracks if you just walk on it. If someone finds your prints, they may decide to raise alarm. Crawl instead and you won't leave any traces. Snake, those pipes you see along the wall and ceiling are steam conduits. They're thin enough to penetrate with gunfire. Don't touch the steam. One of those blasts from the hole will burn your skin off. You may be able to use it as a trap of some sort, though. Snake, go to the bridge first and find out where this ship is headed. There are stairs in the north block that will take you up. Head north for now. Snake, that door is probably busted. Try the other ones. See those lockers? That's a good place to hide yourself if you're in a pinch. Push the action button near the locker to open the door. Walk into it for a quick concealment. Push the action button once more to get out of the locker. You can see out from the slit in the door. Make sure you check the area using first-person view before you go out. You can also hide enemies you've knocked out in the locker. Just open the locker, then drag the body to the locker. If you open the locker, you can use the door as a cover during an exchange of gunfire. But, of course, this is a pretty flimsy door. There are limits to how many bullets it can withstand. Don't count on it too much, okay? You can also hide enemies you've knocked out in the locker. Just open the locker, then drag the body to the locker. Snake, there's a surveillance camera in place. Once you're in its field of view, an alarm will go off. You can't afford to be seen. You can also use the chaff grenade to set up some electronic interference. The camera will be ineffective for a while. There's a blind spot right beneath the camera. Use it to buy some time. You can also use the chaff grenade to set up some electronic interference. The camera will be ineffective for a while. If you trigger the sensor, the explosives will detonate. Don't ever make contact with the beams. This is very important. The actual explosive device is the one with a blinking orange light on it. Don't even think about shooting that. Any significant impact will set off the detonators, which is not good. Snake, that's the pantry where they keep the food supplies. Huh, lots of cardboard boxes. You could probably use one to blend in and avoid being discovered. There's something about that soldier who was standing outside the infrastructure. I think you should check it out. Use the hatch on the port side of the infrastructure to get out onto the navigational deck. That's where you need to go. Snake, you're not the only one with a gun. If you don't take cover, you'll get hurt. Hide behind something. She may be hiding too, but you have a clear shot whenever she decides to attack. Use the first-person view attack. Snake, she's shooting from concealment. You should use the first-person view attack. Push the R1 button to change to first-person view. Then use the weapon button to raise the gun, and you can attack from that viewpoint. Push the L2 and R2 buttons while in first-person view to strafe left and right. Push the L2 and R2 buttons at the same time to stretch up on your toes while still in first-person view. These moves can be useful. Snake, use the corner view to watch for a chance to attack while hidden. Push the R2 or L2 button while in corner view to take quick looks out.
You can also move the right stick while in corner view to survey other directions.
If you have a weapon selected, push the weapon button while in corner view to jump out from concealment and aim your weapon. Your best opportunity will be when she tries to attack. Shoot before she does. If you use a first-person view attack, you should be able to strike from between containers. You'll have an element of surprise on your side. The handgun's effects vary depending on where you manage to land a shot. Aim for the head for the highest degree of damage. Use the first-person view to take aim. Snake, she's shooting at you from behind the tarpaulin. She can see you, but the tarp's completely blocking your view. You haven't got a prayer like this. Do something about that tarp. Snake, she has grenades. You can't stay in one place. Keep moving around and you'll be safer. Snake, get rid of that light. You can't see anything with that glare. Shoot it out or you're a sitting duck. Hey, Snake, you found a handgun.
It's a decent one. USP.
The USP fires real bullets, not the knockout rounds the M9 uses. You know that, right? The USP isn't equipped with a suppressor either. If you fire it when there are enemies nearby, they'll probably hear it. Keep that in mind. Having the USP will make combat easier, but being undetected is still the best way to go, okay? Okay, now, infiltrate the holds and get those photographs of the new Metal Gear. Head downstairs. Snake, there should be a door into the holds in the northwest section of the engine room. Head west. Snake, the engine room is full of solid structures. You could probably use them to get away when the enemy's chasing you. Use the hanging mode wisely. That's the engine room. You can see the tanker's engine in the middle there. The engine noise is pretty loud, but that means the enemy's hearing will be hampered too. Aim carefully and take out just the control unit from the infrared sensors. Use the first-person view for accuracy. The control unit is the one with the green light. Looks like there are several control units. Unless you take out all of them, you won't be able to get through. Once you've destroyed a control unit, the IR beam should shut off. If the beam is intact, that means there's a control unit you haven't managed to take out. You need to destroy every single control unit. Use the first-person view attack to target and destroy only the control unit. You should be able to target the partly concealed unit by climbing on top of objects, crawling, or stretching. Change to first-person view with a weapon selected. Once you aim your weapon with the weapon button, you're ready to attack in first-person view. Snake, Metal Gear is in the holds below the tanker's deck. Go down. That USP of yours should let you take out the infrared booby traps. There's no way into the holds except past those sensors. Take out the trap and head further down. Snake, the Metal Gear prototype is in the holds. You took out the infrared sensor trap just now. Go through that section to reach the holds. Snake, the Metal Gear prototype is down in the holds. That corridor wraps around the holds. There are several doors into the holds from the corridor, but it looks like most of them are locked. But I think the farthest door isn't locked yet. You can get into the holds from the door at the end of that corridor. Head north. Shoot out the lights to darken the corridor. The enemy will have a harder time finding you. Snake, use the flashlight in dark places like this. Your USP is equipped with a flashlight. All you have to do is select the gun and aim it with the weapon button, and the light will go on. Not that I need to tell you this, but the light will turn you into a better target if there are enemies nearby. Be careful. That door probably can't be opened. Try heading north. I don't think they're gonna let you into the hold so easily.
I'll have to stand my ground and fight. I can try a jump-out shot from corner view.
Good idea. If you go with jump-out shots, you can wait behind cover for the right time to get in a shot. Select your gun and flatten yourself against an object. Then switch to corner view. Hit the attack button to pop out and catch the enemy off guard. Let go of the attack button to get back behind cover. Wait for a lull in the enemy fire to strike. Snake, what if you run out of ammunition during an exchange of fire? Leaves you suddenly vulnerable, doesn't it?
That wouldn't happen with tactical reload.
So change the magazine before it becomes empty. That way you would never run out when you're actually facing the enemy.
Exactly.
To perform a tactical reload, unequip the gun, then equip it again. The gun should now be loaded with a fresh magazine. Use the quick change button, the R2 button, for this one. Snake, you can take cover behind objects, get down, and fight back from a safer spot. You can get into the holds from the door at the end of that corridor. Head east. Snake, the enemy's serious about not letting you through. You have no choice but to take all of them out. Start firing. Snake, they've got grenades. If you see an incoming one, just get the hell out of there. Snake, the tanker's holds are divided into 3 separate blocks, and Metal Gear is in the farthest hold. You need to head north. You know the number you're up against. If you're spotted, there's no winning that fight. You have to stay out of their sight, okay? Snake, take those pictures before the Commandant finishes his speech. It's the only chance we've got. As soon as he finishes up, the Marines will go back to their posts. That's way too many pairs of eyes watching out for Metal Gear. There's no way they'll let an intruder with a camera slip past. Do what you have to before that happens. You absolutely can't let anyone see you in there. There are too many Marines in there to handle, even for you. If they see you, you're dead. Caution's the key word here. Snake, you see that projector there? See what comes up if you turn it onto the screen in front of you. I'm guessing there isn't enough space for all the Marines in that farthest hold where Metal Gear is. Don't cut across in front of the projector, or the enemy may spot your shadow. Crawl across if you need to move in front of the projector. Snake, look at that hatch over there. It probably connects to a below-deck network of ducts. Face the hatch and push the action button to open it. Snake, they'll find you if you make any loud noises, even inside that duct. There's no way you can take on that many of them. Don't even think about firing a gun, okay? Please? Okay, we're finally there.
So, this is the new Metal Gear.
Yep, and we're gonna show the whole world its baby pictures. Get the prototype on camera. We need 4 images. One from the front right, the front, and the front left, and a close-up of the Marines marking on the prototype. Once you have the photos, use the workstation in the southeast end of the area to transmit them over to me. Send me something I can use. Once you've got the photos, use the workstation in the southeast end of that room to send them over to me. But if they aren't what we need, I'm gonna have to ask you to take another set. Snake, you can use that pole to get down to the level below. Face the pole and push the action button to grab a hold of the pole. But once you slide down, you won't be able to go back up. Make sure you're finished with this floor before going down. Snake, you're not going to be able to climb back up that thing. You should forget about going up to that level. Oh, so he was broadcasting all this stuff.
You could probably get in down there if you crawl. If you hide well, you can probably escape when being pursued by the enemy. Whenever you crawl into a narrow space, the camera will automatically switch to intrusion view.
Push the left stick up to move forward, down to move back. Push left and right to turn in those directions.
Keep an eye on the enemy and proceed undercover at all times. You absolutely cannot afford to be spotted. Unlike in VR training, you can use your gun from intrusion view in the field. Keep that in mind. Raiden, first get to the upper section of the big shell. Take the elevator in the north end of the area. To get to the elevator area, go through the connecting passageway to the north. The passage is behind a watertight hatch. It should look like a door with a circular handle. The punch is the basis of hand-to-hand combat. Push the punch button. Hit it repeatedly to do a combo and take out the enemy. Unlike in VR training, you can fight in first-person view also. Use that to your advantage. Move in close to the enemy when you have no weapon selected. You can throw him with the weapon button. The throw inflicts greater damage than the punch. Keep that in mind.
Move in behind the enemy and push the weapon button without touching the left stick. You can put him in a chokehold. If you keep applying the choke, you can take him out altogether. The level of lethality is strictly your choice.
Raiden, push the R2 or L2 button while in first-person view to strafe right and left respectively. You can use the strafe to quickly slide out of cover and scan the area. Of course, you'll be spotted more easily when you're visible. If you spot a terrorist coming your way, let go of the button and duck back into cover.
Once you see the codec screen, set the frequency by moving the left stick left and right. Push the left stick up or hit the enter button to start a call on that frequency. The codec is also capable of retaining the frequencies that you contacted in its memory. Lean the left stick down in the codec screen to activate the memory window. The memory window displays a list of frequencies used to date. Select a frequency and push the enter button to start a call on that frequency.
Raiden, when you're flattened against a corner, you have the ability to survey the scene behind you while staying concealed. This is called the corner view. Use it to find an opening in their surveillance and move ahead undiscovered. Strafing is allowed, unlike in VR training. Peek by using the L2 and R2 buttons, and make jump-out shots with the weapon button. Take advantage of the different options. Flatten yourself against the wall and push the punch button to knock and create a diversion. You can trick the enemy into coming over to investigate. Deception should be one of your strong points, or is that only if the other party is a beautiful woman? If you find an item box, walk up to it and take a look in first-person view. You should be able to see what's inside the box. An item box can sometimes fall out while moving an enemy's body. Pick it up quickly. Once you put a chokehold on an enemy from behind, you can drag him around with you. As long as you don't let go, he can serve as a human shield. Keep in mind, Raiden, that this is a covert mission. There's a lot of them and only one of you. You'll be surrounded in no time if they discover your presence. Select a weapon and switch to first-person view with the R1 button. You can now execute a first-person view attack with the weapon button. In first-person view, you'll specifically be able to target the head, feet, and other strategic areas. You can also aim your strike in directions not available from the regular point of view, overhead, straight down, and so on. You can strafe, left and right, even during a first-person view attack by pushing the L2 or R2 buttons. Also, the crawl button will let you go into a crouch. Push the L2 and R2 buttons at the same time to stretch up on your toes. This is a useful move when engaging the enemy from behind cover. Explore it. Raiden, the tranquilizer rounds vary significantly in effectiveness depending on the part of the body they hit. Hits to the extremities such as hands and feet take a long time to show effect. On the other hand, a direct hit to the head or the heart will instantly knock out the target. Use the first-person view to aim carefully. Handguns and automatic rifles inflict varying degrees and types of damage depending on where a shot lands. A shot to the right hand will disable that hand, and a target will no longer be able to run following a foot shot. Shoot a vital spot like the head or the heart to take someone down with a single shot. Direct your shots as the circumstance requires. Use the first-person view to aim. If you shoot out the radio behind the enemy's right hip, you can prevent him from calling in reinforcements. Use the first-person view for precise shooting. Push the crawl button while running to go into a roll. You can use it to jump over a short distance or knock out enemy personnel in your path. Use it to maximum advantage.
Lean the left stick only very slightly to slow your walk. You should be able to move quietly over surfaces that would otherwise clatter underfoot.
Push the L2 or the R2 button while in corner view. You will be able to peek out from behind cover and scan that direction. This will give you a better view of what lies ahead, but make sure that the enemy doesn't catch you exposed.
Move the right stick while in corner view to study that direction. You should be able to gather more information this way than from the regular corner view.
Unlike peeking out with the left step and right step button,
this method doesn't involve leaning out. Safety is an important consideration, so be sure to use the technique.
if you have a handgun or an automatic rifle selected while in corner view, you have the option to make a jump out shot with the weapon button. You can take cover behind an object, wait for an opportunity, then strike rapidly. If you have the grenade selected during a peek, you can throw it over by pushing the weapon button with your back still against a shielding object. This should come in useful in situations such as discovering multiple opponents around the corner. Work with it. Keep an eye on how long a shadow you're casting. Depending on the lighting situation, the enemy could discover your presence because of that one small detail. Raiden, covertness is the keystone of sneaking missions. It's unwise to leave any trace of your presence, so I suggest you leave those things intact. Once you're spotted, Raiden, you cannot afford to relax even after throwing off the pursuit. The enemy will ramp up its security precautions to hunt out the intruder, you. Patrols may be increased as well. Exercise extreme caution. Even the enemies will have a harder time spotting you in the dark. The chance of being unnoticed is higher if you stay in darker areas. Do you have any spent handgun or rifle magazines? You can throw those with the weapon button after you've exhausted all the rounds in them. They have no effectiveness as weapons, but the sound of it hitting the ground may serve as a diversion. It could be used as a ploy to lure the enemy in. To select a weapon, push and hold the weapon menu button and open the weapons window. You will see an array of weapon icons.
Select the desired weapon by moving the left stick up and down.
The chosen icon will appear in the lower right. You may notice a slight difference from the VR training mode. Any weapons you have from the same class are displayed on the same row.
You can select a weapon out of the row by moving the left stick left and right.
The selected weapon should appear to the far right. Let go of the weapon menu button and the selected weapon will be in your hand. Follow the window instructions on how to use each weapon. Equipment such as rations is selected the same way. Just use the L2 button instead. Raiden, if we need to contact you, we'll initiate a call. If you see the call sign, push the select button to open your channel. Raiden, if you walk around with your feet wet, there will naturally be tracks everywhere. There's very little hope that the enemy will fail to spot those. To avoid leaving footprints, crawl instead. Intrusion view does not guarantee your safety. If you're spotted, you will be attacked. Make sure you're not spotted sliding into intrusion position. A patrol could also start checking the spot where you're likely to be hiding in intrusion view. In that case, remain in intrusion and keep moving to stay out of the enemy sight. The intrusion view is no free lunch. Got that? Raiden, you can climb onto anything up to about waist high with the action button. It should come in useful. If you see an approximately waist high railing, push the action button near it. You will be able to climb over the railing and hang down from the other side. This is referred to as hanging. Not only does it allow you to stay out of the enemy's sight, you will be able to reach locations that are otherwise inaccessible. You will be able to move left and right while hanging. You can use the capability move undetected. Press the action button again to climb up from hanging. A grip gauge is displayed under the life gauge while hanging. The grip gauge indicates how firm a grip you have. It will decrease over time as long as you're hanging. When the grip gauge runs out, you will fall. Climb up before that happens. Push the crawl button while hanging to jump straight down. But a jump from too high a location will take a toll on your life gauge. Check the ground below in first-person view before jumping down. The risk of leaving an enemy's body lying around is too great. If his comrades discover it, they'll be on the lookout for you. Whenever you take an enemy out, conceal the body to the best of your abilities. You can drag an enemy personnel's body. This is how to do it. First, walk up to the body, and with all weapons deselected, press the weapon button to pick it up. As long as you have the weapon button held down, you can move around with the body in your grasp. Release the weapon button to let go of the body. You can use weapons even while crawling. This is different from VR training, so you keep that in mind. The enemies check in with each other on a regular basis. If a man fails to respond, reinforcements are sent in to check out a potential situation. If they find their comrade unconscious or worse, they'll go into high alert. Make sure you hide the body securely out of sight to avoid this. If they spot you, they will call for a backup team, and that's a tough bunch. Direct confrontation would be high risk. Even if you are spotted, there are ways to prevent the enemy from calling in reinforcements. You can take the man down before he has a chance to call in. Get him before he picks up the radio, and you won't have to worry about the backup. You can also set up electronic interference using the chaff grenade. The enemy's radio will be useless, and no contact will be established with other patrols. Taking out the enemy's radio is, of course, an effective means of preventing communication. No backup can be called. Enemy patrols carry the radio behind their right hip. Aim from first-person view, and you should be able to put a bullet through it. If you take an enemy out without being spotted, an item box can sometimes appear. Don't forget to retrieve it. Approach the enemy undetected and train your gun on him before he can react. This is how you can hold someone up. Once the enemy raises both his hands, he won't put up any resistance. How you proceed after that is up to you.
Tilt the left stick lightly to walk quietly.
Crawling also lets you move noiselessly. Consider both of these options. Press the L1 button when holding your gun to activate the lock-on function. It is very helpful when you want to fix your aim quickly. Lock-on can only be used to fix your aim on an enemy's torso, however. Go to first-person view when you want to aim for an enemy's weak point. Select a weapon and switch to first-person view with the R1 button. You can now execute a first-person view attack with the weapon button. Raiden, you should be used to the controls by now. Proceed with your mission. The clock is ticking. Get on the elevator on the far side of this area and get to the upper section of the big shell. Handguns are aimed by pushing down the weapon button, but if you release the button gently, you can lower the gun without firing. Raiden, Do you see the ladder? Walk up to the ladder and push the action button to start climbing. You will be able to move left and right while hanging. You can use the capability move undetected. Press the action button again to climb up from hanging. Raiden, there's a locker over there. It's a good place to conceal yourself from enemy patrols. Face the locker and press the action button to open the door. Walk into the open locker and close the door to hide. Push the action button again to get out of the locker. You can see what's going on outside through the slit. Go into first-person view and make sure the coast is clear before you walk out. You can also knock out and drag enemy personnel over to an open locker and hide their bodies inside. Open a locker, and in an exchange of gunfire, the door can serve as a shield. This can be helpful when there's no other cover in sight. You can also destroy locker doors. If you absolutely need to open a locked one, just break in. Raiden, that door is watertight.
Yeah, I know how to open it. We covered it in VR training.
True. Proceed with caution. Raiden, the elevator is at the extreme north end. Take the elevator to the upper section of the big shell. Before you head for the upper section of the big shell, log into the node. The node is at the far end of that area, to the east of the elevator. Even the enemies will have a harder time spotting you in the dark. The chance of being unnoticed is higher if you stay in darker areas. The elevator seems to be stopped on the upper floor. You'll have to wait for it to come down. You see the node to the east? Access it for now. Raiden, the computer terminal you see over there is what's called a node.
This?
Right. Log into it right now. Stand in front of the node and push the action button. Logging into a node will permit you to use the radar and the overview map of the area. You will also be able to access other functions such as option changes. Customize the settings according to your needs. Raiden, the elevator is on its way down. It will be a few more minutes before it gets there, however. Wait until the elevator is here, but find some cover in the meantime. Make sure you're out of the enemy's sight.
Waiting isn't my strong point.
I know. You always left that job for me, didn't you?
Raiden, is remembering priorities also not your strong point? Just go into hiding until the elevator arrives. In first-person view, you'll specifically be able to target the head, feet, and other strategic areas. You can also aim your strike in directions not available from the regular point of view, overhead, straight down, and so on. If you have a handgun or an automatic rifle selected while in corner view, you have the option to make a jump-out shot with the weapon button. You can take cover behind an object, wait for an opportunity, then strike rapidly. Raiden, radar utilization is key. The ability to check the enemy's movements and field of vision through the radar will be indispensable in a sneaking mission. But don't be so reliant on the radar that you miss the obvious. Always check your surroundings in first-person view as well. Raiden, the elevator won't move when enemy soldiers are in it. Draw enemies out of the elevator. According to the SEAL Team 10's communications, the President was sighted on Strut B. Raiden, head for Strut B. It's to the northwest of Strut A, your current location. Cross the connecting bridge between Strut A and B. You can get to the connecting bridge from the first floor. Get down from the roof to the first floor. That area is caked with seagull droppings. You'll slip if you run over it. Be careful. If you fall from that height, you would never make it. Climb up before your grip gauge runs out.
Don't even think about letting go, okay?
Raiden, the elevator's gone down. There's no need for you to return to the deep sea dock. Proceed with the mission. Raiden, that door is locked. You most likely won't be able to get through. Find another way in. There's a door on the northwest end of this floor. You can get onto the connecting bridge between struts A and B through there. Cross the A-B connecting bridge to strut B. You won't be permitted to log into a node during the alert mode. Make sure you're not under pursuit when you need to log in. Raiden, that door is controlled by the facility's security system. Unless you have a security card, you won't be able to open the door. The Cypher is a type of unmanned surveillance craft. It will alert the patrols upon discovering an intruder. If you're spotted by one, the reinforcements will come running. Raiden, you need to stay out of the Cypher's field of vision. You can't afford to be apprehended.
But Colonel, there's nowhere to hide.
Jack, snap out of it.
Hang from the railings and let the cipher pass you by. Try hanging, and keep an eye on the grip gauge. Use the chaff grenade to set up electronic interference. The cipher will be offline for as long as the chaff is active. The cipher can be taken out by destroying its camera. Raiden, didn't you hear what the SEAL said? The President is in trouble. Head for Strut B. Strut B is to the northwest of Strut A. First, make your way to Strut A on the double. The President's life is at stake here. Hang from the railings and let the cipher pass you by. Try hanging, and keep an eye on the grip gauge. Raiden, stay out of sight at all costs. The bridge is too narrow to offer any way out. If you're spotted, you won't last too long. The sentries aren't checking over the railings. Hanging will let you travel right in their blind spot. Try hanging. That floor will make a racket if you run on it. Noise tends to bring enemy soldiers to the scene.
Tilt the left stick lightly to walk quietly.
Crawling also lets you move noiselessly. Consider both of these options. Raiden, SEAL Team 10 has engaged someone on the BC connecting bridge. The President is most likely there as well. The BC connecting bridge is on the north side of Strut B. The President is in danger. Go now. I see you've acquired a gun.
Pliskin gave it to me.
Don't trust that man. But the gun itself seems all right. However, it's not equipped with a suppressor. If you fire it, the noise will be loud enough to alert any enemy personnel within hearing distance to your presence. Infiltration is the art of making your presence invisible. Try not to end up in a situation where you need to rely on firepower. Combat must be avoided unless absolutely necessary. A Navy captain and the President. Unbelievable. Raiden, get to the President. Head for the BC connecting bridge. That's a transformer board over there. You can open and close the door by pushing the action button when you're in front of the door. It's possible the terrorists will attempt to destroy the big shell in retaliation for the SEAL strike. Defuse the bombs before they make that move. Go to Strut C and locate the bomb disposal expert. Take the BC connecting bridge on the north side of Strut B to get to C. Raiden, you can see the core of Shell 1 to the east. The connecting bridge, though, has been completely destroyed. There's no way to get to the core from where you are. You'll have to use the EF connecting bridge on the opposite side. The bomb disposal expert is somewhere in Strut C where you currently are. Locate him and request his assistance. Stillman is safe as long as he's in there. You worry about defusing those C4s instead. Make doubly sure you stay out of the enemy sight. If the radar goes offline, the sensor is useless. The C4s will become invisible to you again. Raiden, Stillman is an authority on bomb disposal. You need all the advice he can give. His frequency should be 140.25.
Raiden, don't get yourself worked up. It's safer to take out the enemy first, then look for the bomb. Don't even think about searching for the bomb while looking over your shoulder for the enemy. Knock them unconscious or take them out altogether first. Shoot a fire extinguisher and the contents will spew out. It's probably a good way to distract the enemy. If you ever find yourself under pursuit, give it a try. Necessity is the mother of invention. If you shoot those pipes along the ceiling or the floor, jets of steam will escape. Use it to distract or burn the enemy. Remember, always use the surroundings to your advantage. To throw something, such as a grenade or a magazine, press the weapon button to cock your arm and release the weapon button to throw the object. Remember, the distance thrown varies depending on how hard you press the weapon button. Make sure you target the throw at the most effective spot. Put your thermal goggles on and look at the enemy's neck area. You should be able to see if he has dog tags on. Raiden, look at the enemy you knocked out. See the stars revolving over his head? When the stars disappear, the enemy will regain consciousness. Keep an eye on the spot above their heads. You can use the holes left behind from collapsing floors to your advantage. Tip the bodies of enemies you've taken out into the ocean to hide them. Raiden, a full life gauge will slow down the consumption of the grip gauge. Be smart about using your ration. The consumption of the O2 gauge will also be slower with a full life gauge. Make good use of those rations. When you swing up from hanging, use the momentum to knock someone out. Try it when there's an enemy near the railings. If you see a likely handhold while you're jumping down from hanging, try pressing the action button. If you hit it well, you should be able to grab on. It'll work even if the direction is a little off, so play around with it. Jump down right onto the enemy's head from hanging to knock him out. Look down in first-person view to aim well. Think about what the ideal spot to aim for is, depending on time and circumstances. Go for the central nervous system if you absolutely have to take someone out. If all you want to do is immobilize them, temporarily incapacitate their mobility. If you want to make them bleed, go after their circulatory system. And if radio silence is your only objective, destroy their radios. Inflict only the damage that is the most effective for a given situation. Be smart. That's the key to survival. The coolant spray can be a weapon as well. Spray it into an enemy's face and he won't be able to see for a while. Necessity is the mother of invention. Keep improvising if you want to stay alive. After you take someone out, shake them by pushing the weapon button. An item box may appear. Try it if you have time. After you hold an enemy soldier up, you could manage to seize an item if you're lucky. There are some items you can only get from a hold-up. Give it a try. Punching is a basic move in hand-to-hand. To deliver a punch, press the punch button. Go ahead, try it. While running, you can execute a roll by pressing the crawl button. For short distances, you can jump, and if you bump into an enemy just right, you can send the enemy flying. You can also jump over any floorboards that creak every time you take a step. Enemy soldiers will hesitate to attack if you're holding one of their own men hostage in a stranglehold. This move is ideal for escaping tense situations. If you hold down the L1 button, you can move while holding your gun. Should be an effective move when you need to break through some enemies. Don't forget it, kid. Bulletproof equipment will not protect your enemies from a grenade's blast or shrapnel. A well-placed grenade could turn the tide of battle to your advantage. You can hide behind certain objects by crouching low. It's a move that provides cover from enemy fire and also allows you to see in corner view or to do a jump-out shot. Your survival depends on how you use the objects around you. Running out of ammunition in the middle of a firefight can be embarrassing. That's why you want to use the tactical reload feature. Once you remove a weapon from its equipped status, it will be fully reloaded automatically. You can easily do this by using the weapon menu button to change equipment quickly.
Right. There's still C4 in the strut where you are.
Where?
All right, let me give you a hint. Look for a place that guys have never entered up to this point. A special place that guys have wanted to enter but simply couldn't. A place that you couldn't enter if the situation wasn't as such. Oh, looks like you were in there already. My.
Colonel, I just saw this guy go running by wearing a cardboard box.
A cardboard box.
Who do you think he was? A dead cell?
The dead cells are a bunch of weirdos, that's for sure. But they don't wear cardboard boxes.
I'll look into it.
I'm counting on you.
Looks like the enemy sentries have the defensive perimeters of each strut covered. You'll be safe as long as they don't radio for more men, but if you're spotted, run for it. Find a good concealment and wait until the backup leaves. You won't be able to defuse the bombs while you're being chased down, believe me.
Pliskin, I saw someone wearing a cardboard box just now.
A box? I don't know anything about that. You sure you weren't imagining things?
Of course I'm sure. Do you think it's one of the members of Dead Cell?
How should I know?
I don't want to fight someone like that.
Why not?
Because it looks so dumb. Anyone who's willing to be seen like that must be completely insane. I mean, he's a psycho, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
Raiden, watch out for that board. You'll probably fall off. Make a run for it and you should be all right.
Raiden, there is no doubt that C4 is planted in that vicinity. Up, down, left, right, be sure to thoroughly examine your surroundings through the first-person view as you change location. Put simply, bomb disposal is a one-on-one with fear itself. Don't try to run away from it. Instead, acknowledge the fear and take it straight on. Discretion is a key when taking on a bomb. A degree of caution that taxes your sense of meticulousness. Don't confuse this with cowardice, as it is the extreme opposite. Carefully conduct yourself with a courage that ensures you get the job done right. Listen up, Raiden. No matter what, don't be impatient. Impatience is questionably the one state of mind absolutely guaranteed to seal your fate when defusing a bomb. No matter how the situation presents itself, you must never lose your composure. Understood? Equipping yourself with Sensor A will bring up a visual representation of the odor of C4s on your radar. It will appear as a mist-like image. C4 is sure to be planted anywhere where there is a response. Search carefully. Sensor A can't specify the exact location of bombs. It's unfortunate, but only the area can be localized. Once you've got the area, you'll have to continue your search using your own two eyes. Bomb disposal is also a race against time. The slightest hesitation can lead to a loss of time and inevitably lives. Don't do anything rash. Focus yourself on being fast and efficient. When dealing with a bomb directly, the only one you can depend on is yourself. Don't count on anyone else. Foolishly doing so will bring death upon you. Believe in yourself, and you'll be all right. The sensor has a high dependability factor. Consider it error-proof. Even if a glance reveals nothing, you can be sure there is C4 in the vicinity if the sensor responds. Try thinking from Fat Man's perspective, and you're sure to find something. Look carefully. The coolant spray will never run out, no matter how much you use it. Go ahead and utilize it freely. Note, however, that the spray has a range of only several meters. Be sure to factor in the distance between you and the bombs when you use it.
Raiden, another C4 down. There was one planted pretty high up on the ceiling. The coolant spray couldn't reach that far, so I had to get up on a stand to do it.
There are still bombs in that area that haven't been disposed of. Search carefully. Fat Man takes pride in bluffing his opponents. Try putting everything back to how it should be.
Raiden reporting. The C4 in Strut B has been disposed of. The wall containing the transformer panel was set to blow.
You're taking too much time. You should work a little faster.
There's no time, Raiden. I've got my hands full here, so it doesn't look like I can help you. It's in your hands.
Well done. It looks like there are no more bombs in that strut. Now, head for the other struts. You're faster than I expected, and more capable than you look. When you equip yourself with the coolant spray, you will enter the first-person view screen. Now be careful, as this means that you can't move while spraying.
Raiden, I'm done with one more C4. This one was in a spot so narrow, I had to crawl in to get at it.
It appears that Fat Man placed bombs within each of the struts. It's likely there are no bombs planted on the connecting bridges. Head for the struts for which you have not yet finished disposing of the C4. No one's going to leave a bomb in a place that easy to reach. It would be more worthwhile to search convoluted areas that can't be reached simply by walking.
This is Raiden. The C4 found in Strut A has been frozen and disposed of. Explosives were planted in the pump room on the first floor.
One more bomb defused. There was one I managed to find only because I took a good look in first-person view. You should try it too.
Even in places that you can't reach, or narrow areas that you can't enter, the spray should reach provided you stretch out your arm.
The cipher transmits its status and mission data to its controller via data link. Discovery by a cipher unit means you've been discovered by your enemy. The important thing is to stay out of its visual range.
Strut F has a solid makeup, with areas that can't be accessed simply by walking. If you jump off from the top, there should be an area that you can access.
This is Raiden. I just finished disposing of the C4 in Strut F. Found explosives on B1.
Hey, you. Has anyone ever told you you have some issues? When the lamp on the detonator stops pulsating, it indicates that the bomb has been frozen, meaning that the bomb has been successfully defused. Apply the spray until the lamp stops blinking.
Everything's going smoothly over here. I just finished defusing another C4. For some reason, there was one planted on an enemy soldier's back.
Raiden, there's a gun cipher flying over there. Those aren't the normal cipher UAVs. These are armed. Watch out. Gun ciphers can be put out of commission temporarily. Use the chaff to interfere with their electronic sensors. You can shoot gun ciphers down if you target the fan section or its gun. Aim in first-person view.
I don't see a lot of adequate cover in that area.
There's some cargo on those conveyor belts. That's about it.
Good thinking. Raiden, take cover behind the cargo on the conveyor belt. Match your movement to the belts.
Raiden, it would appear that some C4 has been planted on a moving object. Search carefully.
Raiden reporting. All C4 in strut E has been frozen and disposed of. The baggage moving on the conveyor belt was set to go off.
Raiden, the roof of that strut is accessible. Check there as well. You won't be able to see the bombs with a quick glance. Search carefully with the first-person view. Try to look under things. Look everywhere.
Raiden here. The C4 reported on the roof of strut E has been taken care of. Explosives were planted on the Harrier 2 stationed on the roof.
Raiden, there's a possibility that C4 was planted indoors as well as on the roof. Go inside and confirm this.
Raiden, that's a Harrier 2 you see over there.
That's what shot down the SEAL chopper?
That's right. Unfortunately, the weapons you have at the moment aren't up to the task of neutralizing this plane. Leave it alone for now. Raiden, leave the odorless C4 on strut H to Stillman. Your job is to dispose of the C4s left on Shell 1. Locate every last one.
Raiden, like I said before, there's a huge load of C4s at the bottom of strut H that won't show up on the radar. The old man's right. There's got to be the same thing in Shell 1. Watch your back. I just got a call from Pete. He made it to Shell 2. I guess he really can run.
Pliskin.
I'll take good care of Pete. Don't worry.
Strut D, in which you're currently located, has a solid makeup. Thoroughly search the lower as well as the upper level. Raiden, I've readied a sensor that's capable of detecting odorless C4. It's stashed in a safe I was hiding in the strut C pantry. Fetch it.
Raiden, go pick up that sensor for odorless C4s. It should be in that room in strut C where you found Pete.
Raiden, go pick up the new sensor Stillman told you about. The one that can detect odorless C4s. Head for the kitchen off strut C's mess hall. That's the room Stillman was hiding in, and he's left the sensor there for you. There's a surveillance camera. Don't stray into its sight. Stay out of the camera's field of vision. There's a blind spot right underneath the unit. Flatten yourself against the wall and move forward. You can also run for it while the camera is pointed the other way. Time it carefully. Use the chaff to create electronic interference. The camera will be blind during that time. Raiden, get to the bottom of strut A ASAP. Engaging the enemy would waste valuable time. Avoid detection at all costs.
Raiden, the odorless C4 should be at the bottom of strut A. Head to strut A's bottom level now.
The countdown has been initiated. Listen up. Time is absolutely critical. Hurry to the bottom of strut A by the shortest possible route.
Should I apply coolant to the bomb in the same way as before?
Wait, I'm still not sure yet. I'll try testing it out here first. For now, get yourself to the bottom of strut A ASAP.
Raiden, get a move on. Use the elevator on the roof to get down to the bottom of strut A. Raiden, there's a C4 somewhere on the bottom of strut A where you are. Select sensor B and get to work.
Colonel, how far-reaching was the explosion?
We are currently surveying minute details.
How about Pliskin?
I don't know.
I hope he's okay.
Raiden, if you have enough time to worry about that guy, then get back to bomb disposal. Do you understand? Raiden, all the bombs have been defused. The President's safe return is now top priority. First, take the elevator to the upper section of strut A. Fortune's railgun packs some power. A direct hit will kill you. Do not present her with a target under any condition. Stay behind cover.
What is she, a witch? For some reason, I can't hit her.
I don't understand. She's obviously impervious to attack.
What are my options?
Disengage her and get out.
The elevator is still upstairs. My retreat's been cut off.
Hang on until the elevator comes down again. Your weapons can't hurt her, and you need to stay alive. Use whatever cover you can find and invade her. Don't even think about attempting melee combat. Keep your distance and evade her attacks. Just buy some time until the elevator arrives. The clock is ticking, Raiden. Get to the heliport on the roof of strut E. Raiden, I expect your encounter with Fatman will involve combat.
There isn't a lot of time, but if you're not happy with your equipment, now is the time to get everything ready. Raiden, there should be a C4 planted somewhere on the heliport. Locate it ASAP. If it detonates, we're finished. Batman will plant the C4s, then activate the timer. Once the timer is online, the countdown begins. Detonation takes place at the 0 count. If that happens, the mission fails. When you see him push the timer button, use the coolant spray to freeze the C4 before the countdown ends. Raiden, as you can see, Batman is wearing a blast suit.
A blast suit?
It's protective clothing worn for bomb disposal work. Gunfire can't really penetrate that thing either.
You can do very little damage through the suit. Use the first-person view to go for the head. The blast suit can't protect him from the impact of the shot itself. A series of rapid fire will knock him off balance and create an opportunity for attack. Use it. The countdown timer will tell you how long you have until the C4s detonate. When the count goes to 0, the C4 will blow, and we will be finished. Defuse the bombs before that can happen. You can also anticipate Batman's course and plant a claymore in his path. Raiden, you're completely defenseless while hanging. If he manages to knock you off that ledge, you wouldn't survive the fall. Keep that in mind. Bombs are not the only weapons Batman has. He's also carrying a machine pistol, and he'll use it if you offer yourself up as a target. Stay hidden. When you see him push the timer button, use the coolant spray to freeze the C4 before the countdown ends. There's a long lag between the time he falls down to the point where he manages to get up. His guard will be completely down. Push the advantage and go for a headshot. Raiden, Batman may be dead, but don't relax just yet. There are still bombs set by him remaining. Dispose of all the bombs.
Colonel, where's that bomb?
We have no information on that. Sweep the area.
Hurry, Jack.
The bomb has to be somewhere on the heliport. Use whatever means necessary to locate it. Raiden, have you located the bomb yet?
No, not yet.
Hurry, Jack. We don't have a lot of time left.
He wouldn't have had the time to find a good hiding place. It must be somewhere near him. Take a closer look. Raiden, let's get back to the task of rescuing the President. Head to the core of Shell 1 and investigate the area. Raiden, make contact with Ames and find out where the President is. Our information indicates that Ames is being held in the B1 level of Shell 1's core. Head for the core of Shell 1. Shell 1's core has extremely tight security. Impersonate an enemy personnel to infiltrate the section. For a proper disguise, select the enemy field uniform you receive from the ninja. This will allow you to blend in. But you still need one more thing. It will look suspicious if you're not carrying the standard equipment. All personnel in the Corps are equipped with AK-74Us. Select your own AK when you're in disguise. Find yourself an AK. You have a level 2 card in your possession. Go and search the warehouse in Strut F. Raiden, make contact with Ames.
Colonel, should I really believe what he says?
The fact is that there is no other option, unfortunately for us.
I'll understand once I go to see him then, right?
Even the most successful disguise can't protect you if you decide to blow your own cover by attacking the enemy. Do not engage the enemy while you are in disguise. If you make physical contact with the enemy while in disguise, the disguise will be deselected. Keep that in mind. I see an elevator over there. You'll be able to travel from floor to floor now. Push the action button in front of the panel you see next to the elevator. The elevator should arrive in a few minutes. That elevator is a cut above the usual. Do you see that strange-looking surveillance camera above the panel?
Yeah, it's not responding when I enter its field of vision. What is it?
The camera apparently goes online only when someone activates the panel. In other words, it's there to check on the person trying to use the elevator.
If you're not disguised as a terrorist, you'll be spotted as soon as you call the elevator. If you intend to use the elevator, Raiden, refrain from using chaff on that floor. Elevators on that floor are designed to conduct a camera check whenever someone activates the panel.
Interfering with the camera would prevent that check system from functioning, and as a result, you'll stay locked out of the elevator.
You'll have to disguise yourself and activate the panel if you need to use the elevator. Select the enemy's field uniform. Raiden, make contact with Ames and find out where the president is. Our information indicates that Ames is being held in the B1 level of Shell 1's core. Head for the core of Shell 1. That elevator is designed to conduct a camera check whenever someone activates the panel. Disguise yourself as one of the enemy's own whenever you need to use that elevator. Push the action button in front of the panel to activate it. Raiden, make contact with Ames and obtain information about the president. You're in the Shell 1 core now. Ames is being held on B1. Head for B1. Ames is most likely being held with other hostages.
Sure, but I don't even know what Ames looks like.
Use the directional microphone to distinguish Ames from the other hostages. It's the only way. According to our information, Ames has a pacemaker. This should make his cardiac pattern fairly distinct. Use the directional microphone to locate it. Isn't the directional microphone supposed to be somewhere in the core of Shell 1? You're on B1 of the Shell 1 core now. Ames is being held in the hall. To get in the hall, you'll have to get through a door protected by a retinal scanner security system. Raiden, get past the retinal scanner and infiltrate the hall. Raiden, if you need to get past the biometric security system, you need to bring one of the enemies to the retinal scanner.
How do I do that?
Put an enemy sentry in a chokehold, then drag him over to the retinal scanner. Come up behind an enemy without any weapon selected, then press the weapon button to put him in a chokehold. Raiden, the retinal scanner does not work on anything but living and open eyes. Don't knock the man out either. Be careful. Retinal scanners are taken offline in alert mode. If you are spotted, you need to shake off pursuit completely first. You don't have a directional microphone, however. Find one first. The microphone is the only hope of identifying Ames among all the other hostages. The directional microphone should be somewhere in the core of Shell 1.
Have you searched B2 of the core?
Use the directional microphone to distinguish Ames from the other hostages. It's the only way. According to our information, Ames has a pacemaker. This should make his cardiac pattern fairly distinct. Use the directional microphone to locate it. Isn't the directional microphone supposed to be somewhere in the core of Shell 1?
Have you searched B2 of the core?
Once you have the directional microphone selected, the screen will switch to first-person view. Point the microphone toward the hostages with the left stick. This is how you listen to the hostages' heartbeats. Listen carefully to pick up the sound of the pacemaker. When you're sure that you have Ames, keep the microphone pointed in the same direction, then push the action button to call his name. Don't randomly call out to people. You'll only draw unwelcome attention to yourself.
Another thing, whenever you have the directional microphone selected, you won't be able to move.
If the enemies see you with the directional microphone, they'll naturally be suspicious.
I suggest you wait until the guards are out of sight before selecting the directional microphone.
If someone does get suspicious, switch the directional microphone for the AK immediately. It's all over if you're caught in the act. Raiden, it looks like the guards in charge of the hostages are in regular contact with other terrorists. Even a temporary measure against a guard will disrupt communications and alert the enemy to your presence. Refrain from knocking any guards out inside this area. I shouldn't have to tell you this, Raiden, but for the record, you are forbidden to harm any of the hostages.
You wouldn't do a thing like that anyway, right?
The guards are keeping watch over the hostages. If something happens to even one of them, they'll realize that an intruder is in the room. That place is a death trap if you're unmasked and surrounded. Do not, I repeat, do not harm the hostages in any way. The guards in charge of the hostages are in regular contact with other terrorists. If regular contact is cut off, that means they would discover your presence. There's no way you can survive if you are surrounded by the enemy in that area. Do not destroy enemy radios or use your chaff to interfere with their regular contact. Got it? Raiden, put on the enemy's uniform. Ocelot is headed your way. Don't forget to select the AK as well. Raiden, this is not good. Enemies in Shell 1 are systematically searching for you.
It looks like they've tightened security considerably. Watch yourself.
Get out of Shell 1. According to Ames, the president is on the first floor of Shell 2's core. Cross the connecting bridge from the north side of Strut D to get to Shell 2. That's where you need to go. Looks like you've lost your balaclava, Raiden. You'll no longer be able to impersonate enemy personnel. Get out of Shell 1. According to Ames, the President is on the first floor of Shell 2's core. Cross the connecting bridge from the north side of Strut D to get to Shell 2. That's where you need to go.
Don't try to shoot out control units with the handgun when the distance is too great. The weapon doesn't have that kind of range. Use the sniper rifle. I saw a PSG-1 in the storage room on Strut F. There should be one left, so go and grab it.
Raiden, what you see there is a booby trap consisting of an infrared sensor and Semtex. The Semtex will detonate if the IR beam from the sensor is disturbed. Whatever you do, don't touch the IR beam. But there's no way to get through there without crossing the beam. Neutralize all the control units for the IR sensor. Those control units and the distance are obviously out of handgun range.
What do I do then?
Use the sniper rifle to take them out. Those control units in the distance are obviously out of handgun range. Look for a sniper rifle. Didn't he say that there was a PSG-1 in the Strut F warehouse? Infrared is usually invisible to the naked eye. There should, however, be a way to make it visible.
You could experiment with what you have.
In order to get to Shell 2, you'll have to disable the IR sensors on the connecting bridge between Shells 1 and 2. Use your PSG-1 to take out the IR sensors control units. Head to the connecting bridge between Shells 1 and 2.
You can't reach Shell 2 unless the infrared sensor trap on the connecting bridge between the two shells is deactivated. Use the PSG-1 to destroy the sensor's control units. Then head to Shell 2 to rescue the President. The PSG-1's controls have been slightly modified from what you learned in the VR training. Note the differences. The PSG-1 scope is equipped with a zoom function. Zoom in for a precise strike, and zoom out when you need a wider field of view. Learn to make good use of the function. The PSG-1 can be aimed from upright, crouch, and prone positions. The different heights of these stances will help you get a bead on targets concealed behind objects. Remember, shoot from a stable position to prevent shakes. The IR sensor cannot be taken offline until all the control units are destroyed. If the sensor is still live, it means there are control units you haven't touched somewhere. Raiden, the Semtex is equipped with shock sensors. Any blow to the Semtex, gunfire included, will set off the sensor and start a chain reaction that will detonate all the bombs. We'll be finished if that were to happen. Aim only for the control units. Take out the control unit on the sensor. You should be able to see a unit with a blinking green light next to the explosives. That's the control unit. With the control unit destroyed, the IR sensor will cease to function. Shoot out the control unit. The tranquilizer gun won't do the job. Not all control units are in a highly visible spot. Use the first-person view to take a good look. Push the R2 and L2 buttons simultaneously in first-person view to stretch up on your toes. You can also crouch down and crawl by using the crawl button. Change your vantage point and conduct a thorough search. Use your skills and you should be able to deal with control units in hard-to-reach spots. Raiden, you haven't destroyed all the control units yet. Use the first-person view or the sniper scope to look around.
Don't try to shoot out control units with the handgun when the distance is too great. The weapon doesn't have that kind of range. Use the sniper rifle. Use the PSG-1 to take out those control units. If some pipe or a storage tank gets between you and the control unit, find another vantage point. There will always be a spot that gives you a clear shot. Raiden, you didn't get all the control units. You weren't thorough enough. I had some trouble with ciphers flying around the area. Raiden, you didn't get all the control units. You weren't thorough enough. Take a good look at the airborne cipher. You can see the control unit for the IR sensor. The control unit is right above Cypher's camera. Avoid shooting the camera at all costs. Looks like if a cipher is shot down, the resulting signal will trigger an explosion. The whole bridge would blow. Target only the control unit on the upper part of the cipher. Aim for the blinking light.
Raiden, the IR sensors on the connecting bridge between the two shells are offline. Go to the first floor of Shell 2's core and rescue the President. Raiden, Handguns and machine guns can't stand up to fighter jets. Use the Stinger missiles instead. Don't panic even if you lose sight of the Harrier. Look at your radar. The radar has been modified to show where the Harrier is. Use the radar and locate the Harrier's position. Don't start scurrying about even after the Harrier is flown away and is no longer in eyesight. When the Harrier is pointed in your direction, it should flash for a moment as it reflects the sun. Don't miss that flash. Locate it as early as possible and hit it with a Stinger. If you delay, you'll be attacked. Both wings are outfitted with an air-to-surface rocket pod. The rockets aren't guided, so moving should get you out of their way. Watch out for the blast, though. That Harrier 2 is equipped with cluster bombs. Each bomb is full of bomblets, a combined munitions weapon. A cluster bomb has a huge effective range. There's no way to avoid one on the upper level of a connecting bridge. Escape by going to the lower level. The Harrier's exhaust is extremely hot. You cannot afford to get enveloped in it. When the Harrier draws near, run down to the lower level. The Harrier is outfitted with IR flares, a countermeasure that burns in midair with magnesium to deceive infrared homing missiles. Shooting a flare will draw any launched Stinger missiles towards the flare. Harriers are equipped with advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, commonly known as AMRAAM. This is a type of active homing missile that uses a built-in radar guidance system for a fire-and-forget capability. The accuracy rate is quite high. Electronic interference is probably the only way to evade it. Use the chaff to disrupt the missile's guidance system. When the Harrier is hovering near the connecting bridge, the RGB-6 should also be effective.
Right. I'll back you up to the chopper. If I see you run short of an item, I'll toss it down. Make good use of those. Right. You've got those Stingers I gave you earlier, right?
Portable anti-aircraft missiles? I had complete VR training in those too.
Gee, I feel so much better knowing that. Hopefully you'll know how to use them in actual battle conditions too. Shoot the Harrier down with your Stinger missile, but remember that while you're aiming the missile launcher, you won't be able to move around. As soon as you see the Harrier headed your way, find cover. Hit the weapon menu button to do a weapon quick change. Make use of it.
Right. Watch out for the Harrier's cluster bombs. Cluster bombs are non-guided units packed with a couple hundred bomblets for wide-range attacks. The bombs are equipped with timed fuses for detonation following release. The dispenser explodes, spreading the bomblets across a wide area. Cluster bombs cover an extensive range. If you see one being launched, head for the floor beneath the connecting bridge. The Harrier 2 comes equipped with air-to-surface rocket pods on both wings. The Harrier 2 rockets are not guided. You can avoid direct hits by moving away from the targeted area following a launch, but watch out for the blast. You should be able to sufficiently throw an AMRAAM off course with a chaff grenade. The minute you see one launched, break out the grenade.
When you're hanging, get to the spot above the pipe, then jump down. Push the crawl button to go straight down.
Don't forget to switch to first-person view to check whether there's a good landing spot.
The enemy has already entered the nuclear launch code. Secure the President before they can confirm and finalize the code input. The President is on the first floor of Shell 2's core. This is the way to Shell 2's core section, where the President is. First, cross the connecting bridge between the two shells. You'll arrive on Strut G. Proceed along the catwalk, circling the outside of Strut G until you get to the LG connecting bridge. Cross the LG connecting bridge to Strut L, then take the exterior catwalk to the KL connecting bridge. You can enter the core of Shell 2 midway from the KL connecting bridge. The President is being held on the first floor. Go! Raiden, you're currently on the connecting bridge between Shell 1 and Shell 2. Go north to reach Strut G of Shell 2.
But the bridge is a mess from their attack.
It's still a way through. Don't let the place get to you, Jack.
Use the first-person view to study your surroundings. Look for sections that can still support your weight. If you use hanging and rolls, you should be able to pick your way across.
Raiden, you cover the President. Make contact with him before the confirmation of the nuclear launch code. We're going to start repairs on the Kamov. That should keep our hands full for a while. I did a round of Shell 2 during bomb disposal. Let me know if you have any questions. Without the balaclava, you won't be able to disguise yourself as an enemy soldier anymore. But aside from the balaclava, you've got the exact same gear as they have, including those boots. Select the enemy field uniform in spots where you have to leave footprints. It'll keep them from spotting your presence.
Right. If you jump as far as you can, you could reach the other side. Try rolling to take off from the very edge.
Raiden, be careful walking there. If you slip off the pipe, it's a long way down to the water. Slow your pace by tilting the left stick only slightly, or go into a crawl.
Follow the catwalk along the exterior of the strut where you are. It will lead onto the LG connecting bridge. Get to the outside catwalk. Raiden, jump down to the corridor below you. While hanging, push the crawl button to go straight down. Just don't forget to use the first-person view to check for an optimal landing point directly underneath. You're on the connecting bridge between struts L and G. Go straight down to get to strut L.
You should be able to reach the KL connecting bridge if you walk along the outside of strut L.
Midway through the KL connecting bridge, there's a way into the core of Shell 2 where the President is being held. Just think about getting to strut L for now. Right, go up that ladder to get to the fire escape on the exterior of strut L. Push the action button to start climbing the ladder. Raiden, you're currently on strut L. Move north along its exterior to get to the KL connecting bridge.
You'll be able to get to the core of Shell 2 from the center of the KL connecting bridge. The President is being held in the core.
Raiden, look carefully. There's a sentry just inside the window. Make sure you aren't spotted when moving past windows. A preemptive strike is a viable option. Throw a stun grenade through the window, for example. You can't use hanging or rolling to get to the other side from there. Flatten yourself against the wall and inch your way forward. You can't get through there standing up. Stay against the wall and crouch down to get by. Raiden, there should be a way to cross over from your present location on the KL connecting bridge to the core of Shell 2. Get to the core of Shell 2. Rescue the President before the enemy can use him to reconfirm the nuclear launch code. The only way to the President is past this electrified floor. Use the remote-controlled missile to destroy the power source. That will cut off the high-voltage current to the floor. Locate a remote-controlled missile.
Snake might know where to find them. He did sweep Shell 2 for C4s earlier.
It should be in the B1 level of Shell 2's core, according to that man. Get it now.
Snake, do you know where I can find some remote-controlled missiles?
Remote-controlled missiles. I saw something on B1 in the core of Shell 2. But be careful. Contaminated seawater's broken out of the tanks thanks to that explosion. Most of B1 is probably flooded by now.
Raiden, that floor is charged with high-voltage currents. I don't recommend you try crossing it. Guide a remote-controlled missile through the duct and destroy the power source inside the room.
When you're on the surface, you can swim in corresponding directions using the up, down, left, and right movement of the left stick.
Push the punch button to dive down from the surface.
Use the right stick to make high-speed turns. Push left or right to make 90-degree turns in those directions, and down to make a 180-degree spin.
You need to catch your breath somewhere before your O2 gauge runs out. Keep a lookout for the surface.
There should be pockets of air somewhere, even with this level of flooding. Make sure you find one, okay?
The less you manipulate a remote-controlled missile, the faster it'll travel. Use this, and you'll be able to deliver your remote-controlled missile over a greater distance. Remember that the missile's range is limited by its fuel capacity. Always remember that unnecessary maneuvers can cost you fuel.
Raiden, make sure the remote-controlled missile doesn't injure the President. You want to take out only the power source. Raiden, the high-voltage current flowing to the floor in front of the room that the President's being held in has been cut off. Head for the first floor of the Shell 2 core. Hurry! Get in touch with the President before the nuclear launch code is reconfirmed. Raiden, locate Emma Emmerich and have her put the President's disk to use. Emma is on B1 of the Shell 2 core. The clock is ticking. Locate her before Arsenal gear goes online.
Emma's probably being kept in filter chamber number 2 on floor B1 of Shell 2's core.
Some light is shining down at the spots where there is air. The light probably reaches down to the floor. Keep an eye out for that light. Raiden, watch out for the underwater mines. They'll detonate on contact. Avoid the mines and swim through the area.
Raiden, watch out for that underwater mine. It'll detonate on contact, so make sure you avoid it.
Why would there be a mine here?
Because someone planted one.
What about that guy who was running on water? Could have been him.
You'd better watch your back. He may be waiting to ambush.
Okay.
Raiden, the procedure for opening watertight doors is the same as when you're on land. Push the action button in front of the door.
Emma's probably being kept in filter chamber number 2 on floor B1 of Shell 2's core. Swim as far west as you can, then head north and you should reach filter chamber number 2.
The places where the air is trapped have been inferred from the node's map data and should appear on your radar. There's air at the light blue locations on your radar. You should be able to come up for air there. Pay attention to the radar and move on. A word of warning. Weapons become useless when you're in water, though I doubt you'll be encountering any enemies underwater. Raiden, it doesn't look as though the watertight door will open. Find another route. Emma should be to the northwest of your present location, on B1 of the Shell 2 core. She's in an area just on the other side of a card level 4 door. Hurry. Vamp seems to be anticipating the trajectory of your shots from the minute movements of your muscles. There's no such thing as a perfect system, though. There must be a way to throw him off and land a shot. Remember what Vamp said. That light reaction tank is a death trap. Make sure you don't fall in there accidentally. You can shoot down the knives Vamp throws. Aim at them in first-person view. Right. Don't use the target locking function. He'll be able to read your trajectory. Aim from first-person view instead, and fire off a barrage with the automatic if necessary.
It looks like he's anticipating the incoming bullet's trajectory from the movement of your muscles. Relax, though. He doesn't have you all figured out. Right. Don't use the target locking function. Vamp will anticipate your trajectory if you do, and you'll never manage to land a shot.
Raiden, go and find Emma. She should be in the locker room to the north of your area.
You could ask Snake for more details if you need them.
Raiden, Emma is in the core of Shell 2, somewhere in the northwest sector of level B1. Arsenal gear will go online soon. Rescue Emma ASAP.
Raiden, we don't have much time left. Emma should be to the north of filter chamber number 2, where you fought with Vamp.
Raiden, you have to hurry. EE's life is in your hands.
When you start to feel the lack of air, hit the action button repeatedly. This will let you ration your air supply better and slow the decline of your O2 gauge.
You can find the locker room where Emma is to the northwest of the flooded area. Go!
Colonel, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Affirmative. That must be Emma Emmerich. You need to go around from the east, though. There's no way into the locker room from the present location.
Colonel, I'm in the locker room, but there's no one here.
Could she have gone somewhere else?
I don't think so. Emma is somewhere in that room. Search more carefully.
Snake, I don't see Emma.
EE!
I can't believe Emma managed to get out of that room by herself. Take a more thorough look around.
Raiden, take Emma to the computer room on B2 of Shell 1's core. She can launch the virus that you received from the President. It's the only way to stop Arsenal gear. The flooding is getting worse. Go back to filter chamber number 2 where Vamp was, before the area is completely underwater. Move! When you're underwater with Emma, her O2 gauge will be displayed below your own gauge. Be careful. Her O2 gauge has lower reserve than yours.
I guess we won't have any time to waste then.
Keep an eye on Emma's O2 gauge. Take the shortest possible way to get through the flooded area.
Raiden, take Emma and go to strut L. There's a ladder down onto the oil fence on the ocean surface from that strut.
Raiden, go with Emma to strut L. If you exit the Shell 2 core and head south on the KL connecting bridge, you'll get to strut L. There's no time. Move it! Press down and hold the action button near Emma to hold her hand. Start moving with the button pressed down and you can lead her by the hand. Push the action button again to let go. You won't be able to take her hand when you're holding a weapon. Keep that in mind. Do you see Emma's life gauge underneath your own? If Emma's life gauge were to run out, I don't need to explain that, I think. Keep her safe and get her to strut L. Emma's life gauge will recover slowly while she's sitting down resting. If her life gauge is starting to run low, you should let go of her hand so she can rest. You will not be able to hold any weapons as long as you're leading Emma by the hand. You have no choice but to let go of her when engaging the enemy. Hide Emma in a safe spot as soon as you see hostile personnel in the vicinity. After you eliminate the danger, pick her up and proceed on course.
Emma, you okay?
Yeah, sort of.
How are you, Emma?
Okay, I think.
Emma, you okay?
I can't go on.
Emma, hang on.
I know. How?
Emma.
I can't breathe. Oh, I can't. Please, air.
Raiden, accompany Emma to strut L. Descend to the lower section of the strut and cross the oil fence to Shell 1. Raiden, take Emma and head for strut L. Strut L is on the south end of that KL connecting bridge. Raiden, there should be a ladder down to the water somewhere near your present location on strut L. Take Emma to the ladder. She can't even walk by herself because of the drugs in her system. See how she has to sit down when you let go of her hand? If you have to release her hand, make sure she's somewhere safe. Don't let her go in sight of the enemy. Stay out and give her cover until she makes it safely across the oil fence. Use the PSG-1 to snipe out anyone who tries to interfere with her progress. Don't forget to pick up more ammunition for the PSG-1 when you run out. They should be close by. Hand tremors are unavoidable when sniping. It can, however, be kept to a minimum by taking the prone position. Go into a crawl and select the PSG-1. Pentazamine can temporarily steady the hand. It's something to consider when you need to do some precise shooting. Emma is still heavily drugged. She doesn't seem to have regained complete control of her body yet, and her judgment is not what it should be. She runs the risk of walking blindly into dangerous situations. Whenever you want Emma to pause, fire at the ground near her feet to signal her. That should make her stop. Take the opportunity to eliminate whatever poses a threat to her. If you don't want to kill, use a sniper rifle that can fire tranquilizer rounds. Your PSG-1T fits the bill. It works just like the regular PSG-1, so consider it an option. The PSG-1T only fires tranquilizer rounds, so remember, it won't shoot down a gun cipher. I know you've already heard this, but don't shoot Emma.
Snake, are you close?
Keep it together. We're almost there. Just hang on until then.
Snake?
We're having some problems. You're gonna have to deal by yourself for a while. Take good care of Emma, all right?
Everything's okay here.
Emma?
I'm okay, thanks to you. You're better than I thought.
Emma, you okay?
Yeah, it's kind of like having a guardian angel. I could get used to this.
Damn, I don't think I can do this. Snake, take over for me.
I'll take care of it then. I'm going to show you how sniping should be handled. Take a good look. My sniping field will be limited to the area you're watching through your PSG-1 scope. Keep a good lookout on Emma's surroundings, even while I'm shooting, all right?
Raiden, Emma's in trouble. Target Vamp only. Do not under any circumstances hit Emma. Aim as precisely as you can.
Damn.
Yes, Emma's not doing so well.
Jack, you did your best.
Raiden, Emma is waiting for you in the B2 level computer room of Shell 1's core. Get over there.
Got it. Colonel, I've reached Shell 1.
Good. I see you managed to make it across the oil fence.
Jack, hurry. Emma should already have reached the computer room.
The only way to stop Arsenal Gear is to have Emma introduce the virus you're carrying into the system. There's not a second to lose. Get yourself to the computer room on the B2 level of Shell 1's core. Emma is not doing very well.
Jack, hurry.
Snake, how bad are Emma's injuries?
It's about what you'd expect.
Oh no.
Just hurry. Raiden, we're in the computing room on B2 of Shell 1's core. Emma's not doing so well. Get over here as soon as you can. Most of the enemy personnel has been moved inside Arsenal gear, including the search and destroy teams. Even if you're sighted, you won't have to worry about the backup being called. Just hurry over here. Arsenal's launch has initiated a security lockout. Otacons managed to override anything that leads to the computing room. This is no time to get sidetracked. Hurry!
Raiden, those restraints aren't something you can remove yourself. Have faith in Olga and wait for her to deactivate them. Get your equipment back first or you won't be able to do much good. Rendezvous with that man and retrieve your gear. Olga said that man would be waiting up ahead, if I recall. Get out of the room and head north. Raiden, with nothing to protect your body, any attack you sustain will cause greater damage than usual. Avoid combat at all costs. Raiden, rendezvous with that man and get your gear back. There's a door on the northeast, second level. Get yourself over there.
Teach yourself how to handle the blade. You're going to need it at some point. Move the right stick to control the blade. Move the right stick up and down to slash up or down, and left and right to slice the blade horizontally. Move the right stick in a circle to twirl the blade. Click the right stick to get a stabbing strike. It has more reach and power than normal strikes, but you're also more open to counterattacks. Weigh the pros and cons well. Push the L1 button with the blade selected to block. With the L1 button pressed, you'll be able to deflect enemy gunfire. Be careful though, blocking works only for frontal attacks. Every time you push the weapon button, you can turn the blade from the blade side to the back. Using a back strike allows you to knock out the enemy without killing them. Are you comfortable with the blade? The enemy's straight ahead. As soon as you're ready, we're off. There's a door at the north end of this corridor. The enemy's on the other side. We'll rush it. Use your blade. Don't let all that practice go to waste. They must be on the other side of the door at the north end of this corridor. Security will be tight, but we'll just have to break through it. Let's go.
There's a door at the north end of that corridor. Solidus should be somewhere on the other side. Stay with Snake and keep north. Snake's life gauge is right below yours. You live and die together. Do you understand? I'm sure everything will be okay, but if he gets in a tight spot, give him all the backup you can. I'm counting on you. Raiden, watch your back. Those men have special issue equipment.
These are the so-called Tengu commandos I've heard so much about?
They have blades that bullets just glance off of. Fight it with your own blade. You've had time to practice, right? Even if they can bounce bullets back with their swords, they won't be able to deflect anything too low. Use the first-person view and fire at their feet. They have blades that bullets just glance off of. Fight it with your own blade. You've had time to practice, right?
There's a ladder on the north side. According to Olga, the enemy is beyond that point. Let's move out.
There should be a tall ladder on the north wall. Those guys should be at the top. Start climbing.
Right. The only way through is to take them all out. We're going to have to do it. Raiden, are you all right?
The enemy is as desperate to stop you as you are to get past them. Taking them all out is the only way through. Do it. If you don't want to kill, use the sword to hilt strike someone and knock them unconscious. Raiden, aim for Ray's head section with the Stinger missiles. The mass production Metal Gear is unmanned. It's probably under the control of GW, the Arsenal Gear AI. A chaff attack should cause electronic interference and confuse Ray for a moment. Use the opportunity to fire a Stinger into it. Use the sword to deflect Ray's machine gun fire. You can't move while you're aiming with the Stinger, but hitting the R2 button will let you do a quick change of weapons. If you see Ray getting ready to attack, use the quick change to deselect the Stinger and get the hell out of there. Approach Ray with extreme caution. There's no way you'll survive being stepped on. Even if you manage to get out of the way, you'd probably get knocked off your feet by the impact. You'd be wide open to an attack. However, if you drop and roll at just the right time, you should be able to get away without losing your footing. Ray's missile targeting system doesn't seem to be very effective against targets within close range. You could try going in really close. For a last-ditch evasion from an attacking Ray, try dropping and rolling. A well-timed roll could come in handy. Mass-production Ray models were designed to flank arsenal gear. Their system probably isn't equipped to take on human opponents, and the scale of their movement should be larger and clumsier than yours. Keep moving and you'll have your chance. Don't give up. Raiden, watch out for Ray's guided missiles. They have heat warheads, designed for anti-tank or anti-warship purposes, so it's probably not intended for anti-personnel use, but you still won't survive a direct assault. It's probably also equipped with an image-guided tracking head. The guided system is quite advanced, but it's not designed as an anti-personnel weapon, so you should be able to jam it with some chaff. You should also be able to evade it if you keep moving. Dodge by rolling. Ray shoots a jet of super-pressurized water from its mouth. Fundamentally, it's a hydro cutter, but the power is on a completely different scale. The moment Ray opens its mouth, it's your chance to attack. Shooting a stinger into Ray's mouth should inflict some real damage.
Right. Take Solidus down. Think about Olga's child and your Rosemary. You must win.
Raiden, you don't have a lot going for you with just your bare hands. You have your own blade. Use it.
Watch out for Solidus' snake arms. If they catch you, shake yourself free by pressing the left stick or the buttons again and again.
The missiles from the snake arms pack a punch, but they're fairly low on maneuverability. You should be able to shake them as long as you don't stop moving. If you can't get rid of them, slice them with the sword. Don't attack from the front. His defenses are too good. Go around to the side or back and get him. Don't stay in Solidus' range. It's too dangerous to try and take him head on. Keep your distance. Your strategy should be to hit fast and move out.
Push the right stick in to strike out at Solidus from outside his range. Make sure your aim is good, though. If you miss, you'll be wide open for Solidus' counterstrike.
Solidus uses an accelerator, so make sure you don't lose him. If you catch fire, just go into a roll until the fire goes out. Solidus has an eye patch on his left eye, so he should have a blind spot to his left. Maybe slipping into that spot will give you an advantage.